Well, 660 is a band that's doing pretty well. They formed in 2006. The self-titled debut album has just been released in October of 2011. The album debuted at number 1 in the New Zealand charts and was certified gold in its first week. And their first two singles, Rise Up 2.0 and Don't Forget Your Roots, reached number 1 and number 2 respectively on the singles chart, and were both certified platinum. I'm very pleased to welcome in two members of 660, Jai Fraser and Matteo Walters. Welcome to both of you.
Hello.
Morning.
Thanks for coming on in. Boy, what a great year 2011's been. But it did strike me reading out that intro that it has taken a wee while to get that first album out, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a bit of a myth that we kind of got together in 2006. We did, but we didn't. It was we kind of just a group of mates playing at flat parties and
in Dunedin.
Yeah, in Dunedin.
Yeah.
For beer contras and
yeah,
and likes of that. But we released the EP in late 2008, and from there, probably about a year later, it really became evident that we could do something with it.
Yeah, I think 2008's essentially where we would say that we formed properly. Yeah. And I mean, the two platinum tracks that we do have were prior to the album.
Yeah.
So that's sort of important as well, that we those were before we'd released the album.
Coming from Dunedin, were you going against the grain with your style of music, with your flavour of music, where Dunedin's traditionally that sort of pop indie sort of sound?
To an extent, I think that's true. Just because there was a definitive Dunedin sound, and there was definitely that niche that was there, and they were very proud of the Flying Nuns and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem out of the ordinary because that was like the stuff we were playing was kind of in at the time. When we got to Dunedin, Fat Freeze came out,
right,
and Cora were just coming up. Shapeshifter were touring pretty hard out. So it was all around us, roots, reggae, and drum and bass.
So heavily influenced by those guys.
Yeah, definitely. We were. I like the fact I said we seem to be some of the only that bands in New Zealand who have their origins stem from local acts as opposed to international.
Yeah, right.
We're pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's something to be really proud of, really. So that now that the album is out, I mean, one thing that does also puzzle me though, without having that album, how did you have such a massive fan base? What do you put your success down to?
Well, I mean, we've always had quite a strong underground fan base, really. Like our online support's always been really massive, and
yeah.
And I guess it puzzles a lot of people, but we've been lucky enough to have the support of people right the way through our career with us. So it's it's hard to explain really, but all I can say is it's always been there, really, or it's always been building.
What's the magic bullet? Is it that online engagement?
Well,
I think
hopefully it's that we write good songs.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
Obviously,
yeah. I don't know. It's I guess we kind of see it differently. Like we don't sit back and go, "How did this happen?" It's just something that's been. It's hard to say it's a natural progression, but things have just happened without us having an intention of them happening.
Yeah,
it's just great that they're actually happening.
Yeah. But I guess plenty of hard work in there as well, playing out live quite a lot.
Yeah. We tour as often as we can, as much as we can, without overdoing it, obviously.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, it doesn't seem like work. We're just kind of out there with our mates having an awesome time.
So I guess the challenge for you guys when you went and recorded your album at the Lab in Auckland was to translate that live feeling, as to keep the fans happy. I mean, it was
I mean, one of that was definitely a goal of the album, but the problem was the album was our first chance to really show all of our sides of our live show, which was stemmed from quiet or slow, sort of soft songs to the heavy.
Yeah.
So it was a way of getting that on an album, and how would you explain it? Making it flow,
right? Yeah,
and not seeming like
we definitely
from there and there, and
wasn't jarring.
We went in with that mentality. Like initially, we were like, how are we going to get out the energy through the album, make it, and we've kind of figured it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to sound like we're playing it live.
Yeah,
energy can be translated in so many different ways. We just decided we wanted to do what was right for the individual song, and the studio environment was we'd never been in that before. We were so used to getting into a rehearsal space and just smashing out a new song,
Yeah.
and then just trying to play it live.
Yeah.
But it was cool because we never had the chance to really get into the intricacies and the details of songs, and we love that kind of stuff when we think about production and songs of other bands we love.
So what did you learn in the studio by having sort of pros around you, helping you out and making sure it sounded all good?
I think we learnt that we can actually trust our own judgment a bit more. We were fortunate enough to get involved with Tiki, who co-produced the album, and I mean, aside from being like a great engineer and a great producer, he really gave us a confidence in ourselves, which allowed us to just be free and create something that we were really, really proud of. So it's just a really cool experience.
Sounds like a pretty special place to be.
Yeah.
So looking forward to 2012, is the year panned out? Do you know what's going to be happening?
Yeah, we're pretty much
sketching out. Well, at the moment, we'll do a tour in the obviously you got the summer tour coming up now.
Yeah.
Starts on Boxing Day, and then I think we'll do like the orientation kind of thing, and then it's off to see the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're planning shows, and we've just locked in Edinburgh and London.
Wow.
And then hopefully a lot more around there, and we're really hoping to get on some kind of festival circuit and playing festivals. I guess it's just more gigging. Hopefully a lot more albums.
I suppose Australia would be a good place to bounce off to as well.
Yeah, we've just come back from our third tour there, which was probably my favourite tour we've done to date. Awesome. Like it was just it's the first time we've been over there doing big venues.
Yeah,
and we had basically a whole sellout of our last Aussie tour. So it's just it's cool that we're starting to get a bit of heat over there.
Yeah,
and trying to build the same thing that we have here in New Zealand over there, which has been a goal of ours.
Nice.
For a little while. So I mean, I'm loving Australia at the moment.
Well, it sounds like you've really got your head screwed on, and you know sort of where you want, what you want, and where you're headed, and that sort of thing. And the music's great. So we are talking with 660, Mateo and Jai in the studio, and they're going to play a song. You got brought in the guitar. Love to hear something.
Now I'm stuck inside this motion I cannot control. Feel like the waves of the ocean on top of me roll. Can't come up for air. There must be somebody swimming in to pull me up. I can't breathe down here. Well, just long enough that I lose my fear. I won't come up again. I don't sink to the bottom of what I am. At least I go down with a drink in my hand. Well, maybe that was the problem. And all began, whoa, I'm addicted and I can't change. The path I walk, it remains the same. And if I get swept away playing these games, remember all that I used to be, not what I became. Now I'm falling to the bottom of the hole in my head. Will share the weight of my thoughts, or are they better unread? Can you help me forget? There must be somebody swimming in to pull me up. I can't breathe down here. But the road is laced with checks and stops at every bend, 'cause I'ma go down with a drink in my hand. Well, maybe that was the reason it all began. Whoa, 'cause I'm addicted and I can't change. The path I walk, it remains the same. And if I get swept away playing these games, remember all that I used to be, not what I became. Oh, remember all that I used to be, not what I became.
You've been listening to 660. Mateo and Jai in the studio with us. Thanks very much, guys, and all the
Thanks,
best
man.
for 2012.
Appreciate it.